I'm sorry I'm talking to you tonight because my intent was, if we won the game, my intent was to excuse myself from the press conference and let you talk to all those happy campers, those seniors, but being it didn't turn out that way, I think that I should hang around here for a little while and answer a bunch of questions. So on that note, let's go.
You mentioned it just a second ago that you were a little bit surprised by Richardson coming in. Did they do different stuff with him? And obviously you couldn't prepare for him, or?
Well, actually, they didn't. They were more simple than they've been on tape. You know, they've been quite exotic in the last bunch of weeks. You know, with formations and everything, and I think they just lined up and went right after us and did it very well.
With Dane out there, was that the plan early this week to have him out there that much, or did that kind of adjust as the game went on?
Well, that was because he was going to throw the drop back passes. You know, that's, you know, we've kind of gotten to the point where you can watch us play, and you know, when it comes to running our base offense, which at this point, as our offense has evolved, it's been a by far run first offense, which Michael's the best guy to be in there for. You know, but we had a game plan that third and medium to longer, you know, we were going to put him in the game, and then if we were going to throw passes after that down the field, he was going to be the guy that we were going to have throwing the ball down the field, because we felt that we had enough, you know, confidence that Iowa State would try to load up front, and then the next thing we're going to have to do is try to throw behind him. You know, to which we had some moderate success in doing it, but obviously not enough.
Was that something you just, I assume that's something you guys had tossed around before this week. I mean, why did it implement that this week?
Well, when you're getting ready, first of all, it's a carryover from the previous weeks what you've done well and what you haven't done well. Okay, and what we haven't done well in the last few weeks is throw the ball down the field. So if we're going to throw the ball down the field, you know, we felt that there was once you get to 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 7 plus, it's not a big secret that unless you're going to go for it on 4th down, you're going to be throwing a drop back pass. So we went with a better drop back passer, but we did it from Monday and Tuesday. This was not like a game time decision. This was something that was planned, how we were going to do this earlier in the week. And like I said, we had some moderate success, but obviously not enough to be competitive to win this game.
With better hands, is it possible you could have gotten some momentum going down through some nice balls?
Yeah, like I said when I was just talking to Nate, I mean, in the first half now, we have 2 drop passes on 3rd down. I mean, you couldn't throw a ball any better. And 2 drop passes on 3rd down and 2 fumbles. And when you're playing a ball control style of offense, you know, obviously the game got away from us. You know, you have to play your margin of error. We're not a type of team that you get down 21 and that plays into our strength. You know, that's not as we currently play. I mean, have I been in offenses that play wide open and sling it on every down? Yeah, absolutely. But that's not where we are at this stage. And I think that, like you said, I can think of those 4 plays in particular. You know, two third down drops on the sideline over there that you know couldn't throw any better, and then 2 balls we lay on the ground. Think about it now. You know, Michael has a nice run on the first drive right after the fumble. You know, we're out close to midfield and we fumble and give it back to him. Okay, and then James, you know, James puts one on the ground too, and that really hasn't been happening too much either. So, you know, now all of a sudden at halftime, you know, I'm kicking a field goal just to get it to a 3-score game. You know, because you say, well, do you want to go for it? We're down 4 scores. And you got to get it to a 3-score game. You're going to get the ball first. You know, if you come out of the gate, you get one right there. You get it to 2 scores. But you know, the way we're playing, you know, we're not a 51-point, you know, offense. That's not where we are.
Did you? I mean, they had a season high for points at halftime. You guys have been right around 20 most of the Big 12 games. Did you expect this one to be more of a 21, 20, 24?
I thought the game would be in the 20s. That's where I thought. I thought that they were going to run it, and I thought we were going to run it, and I thought we both throw it some. I didn't come in the game expecting to throw the ball 25 times. You know, I expected to throw the ball 15 times and run it an extra 10. So, I mean, we ended up running 35 times and throwing it 25 times, which doesn't sound like a bad ratio, but for us, the way we're playing right now, if we're throwing it that much, that's not a good thing, because it means that the game is starting to get away from us.
As you were preparing for this game, Coach, did you give much thought to the possibility that they were interested in the play?
He wasn't, you know, he wasn't even listed in the 2 deep. You know, so, no, I didn't give much thought to it, and maybe I should have. But, you know, still, you know, when a guy comes out there, regardless of who it is, I mean, 23 for 27, you know, and 4 incompletions on the night, 4 touchdown passes, two of them on double moves, and one of them on a shot play after he rolls to his left, throws back to his right. I mean, we just can't do that. I mean, it doesn't make a difference who. I mean, you could be in there throwing the quarterback, you just can't do that. You know, did the kid have a good day? Absolutely, take nothing away from him. You have to give the kid credit, but no, somebody who's like at the top of my head on that, he was gonna be playing all day on offense.
What was, on Tony's 55-yard touchdown run, what was the play? And
Well, when we run that play, which is a flea flicker, and what Tony's been told, when he hits the ball, that if Dane has anyone on him, he just keeps the ball.
okay.
So what they did, you know, they anticipated that being a flea flicker. So when Tony got the ball, rather than pitch it to Dane, you know, and I'm not positive, but I think Cat was wide open on the play, but that's beside the point. The guy who that's why the hole was so big, because the guy ran with Dane and just gave Tony the whole side of the field. So Tony came over, saw the guy was with Dane, and there was no one there, and now you get Tony in the open field, there's a good chance it's gonna turn out the way it turned out.
Was it disappointing? I mean, that was one of those big plays, those big momentum plays, you know, got you back on top. Disappointing that it kind of fell apart from there, nothing in your next 4 drives?
Well, what happened that bothered me the most is but seeing those 4 drives, we have a couple of drop
Yeah.
balls, so I mean, you know, it isn't like you call a play, you know, you have a drop ball, it's not something like you plan on, hey, we're gonna drop the ball, you know. But at the same time, you know, I think that, you know, we already addressed those 4 plays offensively, you know, on defensively, we just give up too many chunks. And, you know, when you give up chunks like that, and all of a sudden, you know, we're hurrying up to kick a field goal on the last play of the half just to get it to 21, you know, and, you know, that doesn't bode well for the style that we're currently playing. You know, down the road, we might be in a different style where you have the firepower to do something about that, but, you know, we were living very dangerously already at halftime, because it was gonna take a perfect half for us to have a chance.
When you put in receivers that can't get open, and then you replace them with someone who can get open but drops it, to either one of those give you more hope, or?
The same result, that's what you get, the same result. You know, hey, look, we all know, most of you are regulars, have watched all the games, and are pretty astute at following what we do. Okay, we have guys that have different skills at the receiver position, and some of them are very physical blockers that you know, don't catch as well, and others are catch really well and aren't real physical blockers. So obviously that's going to be one area of concern, one area of development in the off season that, you know, that comes into play. But in the meantime, I mean, you're mixing and matching, you know, to try to get yourself a chance to get some production.
How much of the playbook was used tonight?
There was a lot of different stuff out there. But I mean, how much the playbook? I mean, the playbook's about like this. So each game, what you do is you take from that playbook what you think the things that you think are the best thing to do against that current team. And you also have to factor in, when you ask that question, you also have to factor in as your team is currently constructed. So that's what we did.
Coach, yeah, one more game, obviously. With this being the last home game in your first year here at Kansas, what's your thought with the fans that you've seen here in Lawrence?
Well, first of all, there was a nice turnout tonight, and you can't, you know, I've said all along, you know, look, when I was a fan, I never left games. Okay, I stayed to the end. Okay, but you can't blame when you're down 38 to 17 at halftime. Are you going to blame them or are you going to blame you? I mean, so I still know there's still some of those students at the end of the game that are still there when I make those guys go over there, and that's not easy now. You just lost a game, now you're going over to sing your alma mater. That's not a whole lot of fun. But I think it also builds character, and I think that's one of the right things to do. And now there's still plenty of people there at the end of the game, and I don't know. I think that for a team that's only won one game, I've been pretty pleased with the support the team has actually ended up getting.
You talked a lot about the repeat errors, the stuff they can see on film. How much of that is mental and how much of it is physical?
Well, I think that they're both of them. I think that that's a valid question because they both come into play. I mean, but for example, let's talk about a double move. Okay, a double move when a guy, quarterback goes a little pump fake and a guy, we call it takes the cheese, takes the bait. Okay, well when you see it on tape and you see it happen, and then you go call that and you exploit them in the same thing, sooner or later you're gonna learn, hey, you can't be you just gotta be taking that bait all the time. Okay, because the only reason why you get beat on those things is because you're trying to make a play. It's not because you're trying to look foolish and have somebody run by you. Okay, it's because you haven't noticed the difference between a quarterback hinging, okay, and a quarterback actually stepping a throw. There's a big difference between the two. Some of it comes from, over aggressiveness, some of it comes from experience. It's a combination of the two.
When that guy who picked off the Michael's conversion pass was a D-back, and Tony ran him down from pretty far. Did you think he was going to catch him, or did that surprise you?
Did I think Tony was going to catch him? Yeah, but most important, I did think he was going to catch him. But that tells you a lot about Tony. Just think about it now. Okay, Tony had just scored a touchdown. We go double seam, and he just scores the touchdown on a long touchdown pass. So now we're down, because it had been a 24 game, I don't know if you guys were thinking with me, but I have to think 3 touchdowns and 3 2-point conversions. Because I'm not figuring on, we have a chance to score 4 times, I'm just trying to score 3 times. So they picked that off, and Michael's right to throw that ball too. Because on the 2-point conversion, what do you got to lose? They're going to get 2 more points? I mean, that isn't like an interception in the field. That is one where you might as well go ahead and throw it up there and give it a chance. But now they're about ready to score 2, and that just tells you a lot about Tony. Most people wouldn't be hustling like he was hustling, but he was all the way in the end zone. Remember now, he's in the end zone. And he's got to catch that guy all the way down the other end of the field. That's a heck of a hustle play. I don't know if you saw me, but I made sure I didn't congratulate him on the touchdown. I congratulated him on his effort on that play because I thought that says a lot about Tony.
For all the emotion of senior night and everything that was put on this game, did you sense that was a factor at all? Did you see anybody playing tight or anything like that?
No, because actually the game started off okay. I was a little disappointed that they drove down the field so easily, but then we got the turnover, and they ended up not scoring. And then we got the ball, we started to move it a little bit, and then Michael laid it on the ground and gave it back to him. Okay, but we're up, they're up, we're up, they're up. I mean, the game's just going along fairly normally to the 17-14 spot. After that, after they took the lead to go 17-14, that's about you know, it's an exchange going back and forth, and I didn't feel the game getting away from us yet at that point. But then, the game, it went down in a hurry there later on in that, midway through the second quarter on.
Coach, I know there's a game left, and there'll be time down the road for broad reflection. But just right now, what have you seen that gives you hope for the program in this first year so far?
Well,
You mentioned Tony's attitude.
Well, I mean, I think we have as good, if not the best, running backs in the Big 12. It's a good place to start. I mean, because it's James, it's Tony, it's Taylor, it's Brandon. I mean, it's all of them. And they're all back. So think about that here for a second. We can't be worried about the off season yet, but you've had because you were inefficient in the pass game, had to morph into this run first team, and now when you can actually spend some time in the off season with developing your current guys and then bringing in new players, and now you can add a complementary passing game to that run game. Now you got something going. It's not a waste. There's no waste in that one, because now you got a lot more ways. Look at, we played terrible and we rushed for 250 tonight. I mean, you forget about it. I mean, when we actually ran for 250 yards in the game. It doesn't feel like it, does it? I mean, it doesn't feel like it to anyone. It feels like you rushed for 50 yards. It's pretty bad when you rush for 250 and you're disappointed. I mean, it was still not a bad day at the office running the ball, but guess what? Stats don't mean anything. You get stomped on. You get stomped on. That's just the way it is.
Coach, with the bye weekend, the holiday next week, do you know what days the players will have off?
They're going to have Thursday off for sure. But no, I told them a while ago, the first bye, we worked through the first bye. So they didn't get time off on the first bye. Thanksgiving, to me, when you don't have a game, go home for Thanksgiving. I think that's what the purpose of Thanksgiving is. Be around family and friends. And there's a lot of people who don't live here. We have a lot of guys from different spots, so they'll be practicing through Wednesday. But Wednesday there's no school, so instead of practicing later, we'll practice early so they can go ahead and get out of here and go spend some time with their families for Thanksgiving.
How was the uniform change announced to the players?
It wasn't announced to them. They walked in. They have their warm-ups, and they saw them there, and we had a lot of juice in there, and put them on there, and it had what it normally does. You know what it normally lasts for about half a quarter. That's how long it normally lasts. And guess what? It lasts for about a half a quarter. Just like when you give one of those big inspirational speeches, they usually last, about 5 minutes into the game. And then when somebody punches you in the mouth, okay, you get back to reality and the game becomes the game. I did that for the seniors. That wasn't for us saying, I wanted to do something special. I mean, to get that done with no one knowing about it, I mean, that takes a lot of work, with no players and no coaches knowing you're doing it. But I wanted to do something special for the seniors. Didn't work, but I'll tell you what, I'm always going to be trying stuff to get something to work. Always. I'll never stop trying. I'll always keep trying.
Following up on the Thanksgiving question, would you rather be playing next week?
Personally?
Yeah.
I hate buys, personally. Okay, but if you're going to have a buy, Thanksgiving weekend isn't a bad time to have one. Because, I think that, again, I'm not going to get philosophical. I'm here to, practically answer questions after what I call rather poor performance. I think to hang the players out to dry and not come up here and speak to you, I think would be inappropriate on my part. But because there is a bye and it is Thanksgiving, I mean, I think that Thanksgiving has a special meaning, where you have to think about all the people who've done things in your life. And I will definitely spend time talking to them when it gets to Wednesday about, making sure they pick up the morning, thank some people that have done things positively in their life. It's a good teaching moment, to be honest with you. Would I rather be playing next Saturday? You betcha. And you wanna know why? Because I'm losing a week of recruiting, selfishly. You know, but not playing next week means that week you're getting ready for West Virginia, when it's legal to be in a contact period, you lose that week of recruiting. Now, what's gonna end up happening is, right after Thanksgiving, the first day we could be on the road is Sunday, and I know I'm flying all over the place on Sunday, because I'm gonna have 4 visits set up for the Sunday after Thanksgiving, because it's the first day we can have contact. Okay, but now you have to come back and get ready to play the West Virginia game, because the most important thing is, you know, giving yourself a chance to win that game.